I'd like to call the January 18th, 2022 Board of Commissioners Business Meeting to order. We're going to begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight we are going to be led by Megan Weaver, who's our Assistant Township Manager and is acting as our Township Manager this evening.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So tonight, in an extra effort to be extra cautious with the COVID surge, as you can see, we're having a type of hybrid meeting. We have all the commissioners here, but we're spread out. We have some of our staff. We have our chief of police, and we have our acting township manager, as well as our solicitor joining us. But a lot of our staff and consultants who typically join us are Zooming tonight and participating virtually. We also, as you can see, have less chairs, and they're a little bit spread out as well. Deanna, can you do the roll call?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Denise Hall, President.
Here?
Catherine Carter, Vice President.
Here.
Martha Similaro, Commissioner.
Here.
Liz McNaney, Commissioner.
Here.
Ruth Damsker, Commissioner.
Here.
Megan Weaver, Assistant Township Manager.
Here.
Lauren Gallagher, Township Solicitor.
Here.
Isaac Kessler, Township Engineer.
Here.
David Duffy, Chief of Police.
Here.
David Brill, Finance Director.
Here.
Van Reeker, Zoning Officer. And it is noted that Sandra Zadell, Township Manager, is absent.
Is Van here, Deanna?
Yes, Van is here. I can see him.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't think he unmuted.
Okay, great. Just making sure. I will turn the next item over to our solicitor, Lauren Gallagher.
Thank you, President Hull. The board did meet in executive session earlier this evening to discuss matters of personnel and potential litigation.
Great. Next up, we have our public comment section. For this section, we ask that you come up to the podium. Make sure you speak directly into the microphone the whole time, because if not, our virtual audience will lose you. We also ask that when you come to the mic right away, you tell us your name and your address, because Deanna needs that information for the minutes. And the last request that we have is that you respect our 5-minute time limit. So with that being said, do we have any public comments this evening?
Good evening, Dave Duffy, 1 Parkside Place, North Wales. About a year ago, I was asked to be on the board of directors of the Volunteer Medical Service Corps of Lansdale. And since that time, as a board member, I've been learning a lot about the organization. And one of the things that the organization faced in terms of a challenge is that although there's approximately 26 or more full-time paid positions, paramedics, EMTs at VMSC, they did not have a full-time paid chief. It was a volunteer position for many years. And I was asked to be involved in the hiring process for that position, which the board had approved, and we had to change the bylaws and things like that, but definitely a necessary change. And so fast forward to tonight, and I'm very, very pleased and proud to introduce you to the first full-time paid chief of VMSC, Mr. Shane Wheeler. We dragged him all the way up from West Virginia, has really good credentials, and he beat out a wide field of candidates that we vetted out, and he was clearly the #1 choice the whole time. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Shane.
Got to lower this a little bit. Thanks, Chief. Madam President, Vice President, and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to address the board tonight. Just looking forward to working with each of the townships and boroughs that we serve. a lot of challenges coming into the position as I'm, transitioning in from a volunteer combination to a fully career system. A lot of challenges. But the minute that I first came here to the North Penn area, I was super impressed. The communities are well organized. The people are so welcoming. I'm used to the other side of the state. I've had some experience in Pittsburgh, not so welcoming sometimes, but really super impressed and with the community and, felt at home the minute I sat in front of the huge hiring committee and have looking forward to bringing my family up who are still in West Virginia, but will be joining me in the next couple months from there. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself. A little background, I'm a previous fire chief for 17 years.
Wow.
About 30 years of EMS and fire service experience, and looking to leverage those those experiences and my knowledge of the EMS systems here in North Penn. So again, thank you, and I'll let you guys get to your business, and it's a pleasure and honor to address you. Thank you.
Shane, thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's great to meet you, and it's great to introduce yourself to the community as well. We're super excited to have you, and we love that feedback because that was very complimentary. So thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Fred Hinkin, 802 Clover Drive. Just general question. I don't know who can answer this or not. Do we have a list of the full grants that we applied for in 2021 and all the ones that were approved and what those were? Is that a right to know question, or is that just something I can just ask?
Is that a right to know, Megan?
Lauren, would that be something that he would have to file a right to know for?
Yeah, you can file a right to know. I don't know that the township necessarily maintains a list of grants, but if you want copies of grant applications or things like that, you can file a right to
I
know.
mean, I would think we have copies of what we applied for,
Yes.
what we
Right.
received. I know Haynes Run and all the stuff.
Right.
I was just curious from previous.
Yes, yes, I would start with the right to know.
Great,
And we'll
thank-
compile that for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to our departmental reports. Next up, we have our planning and zoning report, and I'm going to turn it over to Evan Rieger. Van?
Thank you, Denise. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay. Usually I can, but thank you. So three items, one of which you have seen on your agenda for a number of months, and it's the Wheatley Walk, former Jeopardy property that's wending its way through the approval process. And I think, and Megan, please jump in. I think this could be ready for final action by you, the Board of Commissioners, in February. They have resubmitted their final drawings per their original approvals, and now the devil's in the details, and there are a lot of details to go over. But we're thinking it as a February, perhaps March action item by the board. Megan, I can't see you, but Megan, I'm assuming.
Yes,
I
Van,
heard you.
that is correct.
Okay. Thank you. Number two, two new items for tonight. Zoning Hearing Board 22-01. That came in the end of last year, 309 Sumnertown Pike. It is commonly known as the Del Ciato Architects Building. It's sort of really across from the Township Administration Building, and then toward North Wales a bit. They have filed a permit for a use and occupancy permit. So the use is approved. It's an acceptable use under the BP, Business Professional District. However, they contend that they do not require and cannot provide the number of parking spaces that are called for under the zoning code. So the pathway for that is to have them appeal, and they have requested a variance. So it's a sort of a dimensional variance in that they're requesting to provide 23 parking spaces where normally 60 would be required. They have filed the necessary application, exhibits, their own studies. They will provide expert testimony at next Tuesday's zoning hearing board meeting, January 25th. Typically, when this kind of application is before you, we staff recommend that you consider, and I see it's action item 13 under Ruth's agenda section, that you consider authorizing the solicitor to attend the hearing for the purposes to monitor and participate in the conduct of the public hearing. And by that, I mean to say that the testimony that's created is such that it would defend an affirmative position if one is reached by the zoning hearing board. We want to have all of the details covered so that the township has a complete understanding about what is required, not required, the conditions that would be a part of any kind of approval. The solicitor for the zoning hearing board is an advocate for the zoning hearing board. I, as your zoning officer, am a neutral participant. So typically what we ask is that you consider sending the township solicitor to represent the township's interests at the zoning hearing board, and that'll be discussed later by Ruth after her section. Are there questions about that one? Okay, and then finally, new also since our last meeting is a map amendment, zoning map. So zoning ordinances consist of two components: the zoning text, which is the written rules and regulations, and a map. And the applicant of 375 Morris Road, which is known to most folks in the township as the Axe corporate offices, is under an agreement of sale to be sold to the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit. They would be a purchaser of the property, and they would intend to use the property for their, I'll describe it as a special needs educational services that they engage in, and would be, I think, largely for North Penn area students. In order to do that, they have requested a map amendment from the existing district, which is LI Limited Industrial. It's about 5.5 acres with frontage on Morris Road. They requested a rezone, a map amendment to the IN institutional district. And it comes with some caveats in that they are volunteering to deed restrict the property in such a way that only this form of educational use would be allowed. And they would be non-conforming relative to the existing occupants of the building, which is office. It has been a professional office since its inception, I guess, 25 or so years ago. At the moment, they propose no exterior changes to the building or to the parking lot. And it has more to do with an internal repurposing of the building. So that is scheduled to be heard by the Township Planning Commission February the 9th, and has already been reviewed and generally accepted in a general way by the Montgomery County Planning Commission. And then finally, and we would invite the public to come to the next meeting of the Planning Commission to hear the applicant's presentation. I expect it to be perhaps 2 meetings before the Planning Commission, and then along the way, perhaps an agenda item, or it could be more like an April or May kind of time period for you, the board. So the Board of Commissioners are the body. It's a legislative determination. Often folks think that's the zoning hearing board, and it's understandable. The zoning hearing board hears a lot of things, but they do not consider map or text amendments to the zoning code. That is a legislative action, as Lauren will advise you. It is acted by you, the board. So it'll be pursuant to a public hearing. This is the first step of perhaps a 5 or 6 month process. And again, it'll be in front of our planning commission February the 9th. Are there questions about this one?
Does anyone have any questions for Van about this or any of the items he reported on tonight?
I have a question, Van.
Yes, Catherine.
You said it's Montgomery County Intermediate Unit. When they're saying they're changing it from limited, they want us to change it from limited to industrial for the institutional. Do you know if they're moving all their classroom spaces and everything from the King of Prussia site to this site, or is it just to acknowledge the North Penn area educational?
That's a great question, and that was asked by staff. It is my understanding they'll make a full presentation before the planning commission. It's my understanding this is a long sought after new site to better serve the North Penn students.
So that would include not just office space for them, but also classroom space.
That is correct. So it would be an educational, their reason, and they had advised the staff a number of months ago, they've been searching for a long time for the right site with adequate parking and location, that sort of thing. And they believe this meets their needs. It's a building that's been for sale for a number of years, actually. And again, a full presentation will be made before the planning commission, Catherine. But as I understand it, this would be an add-on. This would be new facility, not in lieu of, but in addition to the existing facilities that they already have.
Okay, I've been to the other site, so I know they're a little jammed up there. It's a lot of, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine, it is and everybody, it is a preschool?
What?
It is a preschool?
No. The intermediate unit?
Yes.
No. An intermediate unit services, there are intermediate units all over Pennsylvania.
Right, no, I'm saying they're building a preschool.
Montgomery County Intermediate Unit?
Yes, what they want to build in this building is a preschool. And they aren't doing it to replace any of their other facilities. They are hoping to target the North Penn area, to have a location for the North Penn area to be able to be in closer proximity.
Yeah, but I believe that it may be, like you said, a preschool, but it's for special needs children.
I don't know that for sure. I
That's
don't remember
usually
that
what the
from the
intermediate unit does.
Okay, I don't remember that from the presentation. I just remember that when they first came to our PRC meeting, they talked about it being a preschool.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, to start, right. They're looking for additional space, and they're looking for a space that's in close proximity to families in the North Penn area, so they don't have to travel all the way down to Norristown.
Okay, because that's not all that they have in.
Oh, no, that's just specifically for this specific building is what they were targeting.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, thank you, Van. Moving on. Next up is our engineering report, and I'm going to turn it over to Isaac Kessler.
Thank you, President Hall. We included our report for this month with the agenda packet, but wanted to highlight a few things as we get the year started here. The first of which is the wastewater treatment plant storm protection improvements. As we talked about in previous months, that we're working on have a larger project along Haynes Run. But one thing we did want to highlight that is about to be done is the coordination that we've completed with Merck for the transfer of soil that we've gone through the process of having DEP approve as clean soil from their West Point site. And that's going to be able to be transferred to the berm that we have between the treatment plant and Haynes Run. This will allow the berm to build up close to another foot in height for protection during these high water events. So the logistics for the transfer of the soil is being completed, a couple of final items just to prepare that area for that soil coming in. And we look forward to having that done in the next few weeks here. So I know It's been a team effort with Rebecca Mason at the treatment plant, with Willard with Public Works, and really most of our staff and Merck's staff as well. So it's an exciting thing we're looking forward to completing. It's kind of a win-win with having soil from their site and using it in a good spot that we needed to add protection to our treatment plant. The next item I wanted to highlight was just the grant projects that we have had funded that are looking to be done in 2022. I know in public comment, it was asked about all the ones we applied for, and I'm sure I'll work with staff for that right to know request, but I did want to highlight just the few that we have gotten grant awarded funding and are looking to get going and hopefully constructed in 2022, basically as soon as possible, but throughout the year. The ones that we have include the Monco 2040 grant. That's for the pedestrian and traffic safety improvements at 7 of our intersections around the township. We have also had grants awarded for the field survey and hydraulic analysis of Haynes Run for the stream bank and flood improvements. And also the Sunnytown Pike Bridge replacement project design phase is moving along this year. And that's a project that will take a little longer, obviously replacing a bridge, but we're excited about that necessary project for that bridge to get replaced moving forward this year as well from that grant that we have the funding assistance. Last thing I do want to mention for tonight's meeting as we get the year going is the 2 large projects we have for drainage infrastructure improvements that are budgeted for this year. And I thank the board for putting these in the budget. We had the field survey completed for these 2 areas, the Dickerson Road, a portion of Dickerson Road, and also the Meadowbrook Road neighborhoods. Meadowbrook being Oakland Place and the Meadowbrook Road loop there. If folks have seen our field survey guys out there, that's the process that has been done up to this point, and now it's in the engineering design. And we're looking to progress that to move these projects into construction later this year. So just in the first meeting of the year here, wanted to mention some of the exciting planned, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks, Isaac. Does anybody have any questions for Isaac? Okay, I guess not. Thank you, Isaac. Moving on to agenda item number 8. This is an approval of our staff department reports. Remember that you can click on the blue hyperlink and be able to read about each department's report for the past month. Do we have a motion to approve the staff department reports?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 9 is the approval of the public work session meeting minutes on December 13th, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve the public meeting minutes of December 13th, 2021?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 10 is the approval of the public business meeting minutes on December 21st, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve the public meeting minutes of December 21st, 2021?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have a motion to approve the 3-year master service agreement with Integra One for our IT services. So our contract with our current IT provider ran out in December of 2021. And Sandra, our township manager, as well as some of our staff, reviewed our options. And Integra One is the firm that most stood out to them. And some of the reasons that it stood out to them is that this firm already handles our police department needs, so they're very familiar with our operations. Another plus was that they have many municipal clients and they provide a very competitive proposal. They will also host our backups with Divot. Divot is our insurance provider because they work with Divot and they do this for other municipalities. And then that saves us money and it's a value added benefit from Divot that they offer. So basically they're going to provide all the same services that our current provider offers in terms of training and support and software solutions, but they're going to do so with a big budget savings. This is going to save us $1,394 a month. So it's wonderful that we'll be getting the same services and then some for less money, basically. Do we have a motion to approve the 3-year master service agreement with Integra One for IT services beginning February 1st, 2022?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have Commissioner Carter. Commissioner Carter, you don't have anything on the agenda. Is there anything you'd like to share with us tonight?
Yes, I'd just like to share briefly. I received an email from Chief Duffy, and I just wanted to thank him publicly. Recently, Officer Fahim was notified about a child that was having some issues with children and youth services. And throughout the incidents, Officer Fahim did his best to comfort the boy, but he also learned that he was interested in basketball. And on his own time and with his own money, Officer Fahim bought him a basketball net and worked with Sarah from Parks and Recreation to get him a week of basketball camp this spring. So we're very proud of Officer Fahim, and I thank Chief Duffy for bringing this to light. And this is a wonderful example of his compassion and what an asset he is to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Next up, I will hand it over to Commissioner Damsker.
Right, item number 12, there's a motion to approve the agreement for encroachment onto stormwater easement for 1954 Armstrong Drive. And what it is, that they have a fence there and they're on the township. So we do this occasionally, that if we need to get to the sewer at that time, or they agree that they would remove that portion of the fence so that we could get to any issues, that if there was any issues on that property. So I'd like to make that a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
So moved.
We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, number 13 on the agenda, there's a motion to approve the attendance, which our engineers, or rather Van from zoning, that we are going to ask our township solicitor at the January 25th, 2022 zoning hearing meeting to represent the interests of the township for the zoning hearing board 22-01-309 Sumney Turnpike. And I just wanted to just reiterate, that there are, that if you're at home and you want to hit on the various different items, it goes into detail and gives you a background so that you can have an opportunity to refresh yourself. So this is just to allow our solicitor to attend the zoning hearing board meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
And item number 14, this is a motion to approve escrow release number 2 for the enclave at Gwynedd Farms in the amount of $81,290.13. The engineer has stated that they have completed all the necessary development, and therefore they're entitled to receive their escrow.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
And then item 15 is a motion to approve the escrow release for 2131 Bethel Road in the amount of $1,485.46.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner Damsker. I'll now turn the meeting over to Commissioner McNaney.
Thank you. Item number 16 on the agenda is a motion to approve the bid for the 2022 snow, I shouldn't say the S word, for the plow and equipment bid, the snow plow and equipment bid to Horgan Brothers in the amount of $8,750. This was, we had put this out once before, and we got two bids that were extremely high, so we rebid it out, and Horgan's been doing it back up for the township for years. So I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Next, item number 17 is a motion to approve the 2022 golf outing contract with Cedarbrook Country Club. And we've been having it there for years in the past, and it's a new date, and May?
Yes.
End of May, it is this year as opposed to in the fall. Does that fit your schedule, Dan? Would that be good? Okay, so I make a motion to approve the contract with Cedarbrook.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner McNaney. I'll now turn the meeting over to Commissioner Simularo.
Thank you. Number 18, we have a motion to approve the installation of 12 removable flood doors at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $173,113, increasing the hydraulic expansion contract from $4,999,997 to $5,173,090, and approval of Resolution 01-2022, authorizing the supplemental appropriation, authorizing the expenditure. This is back in 2020, when we had Tropical Storm Isaiah. Unfortunately, our wastewater treatment plant flooded out because of the high waters, and these removable flood doors would prevent that happening in the future.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker,
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Number 19, we have a motion to approve the purchase of a lateral camera and computer for the wastewater treatment plant via CoStars in the amount of $70,000. And this is part of the budget in 2022.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker,
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Number 20, a motion to approve the purchase of a mechanism for Clarifier 3 rebuild at the wastewater treatment plant via CoStars. This will actually be paid for through the American Rescue Act, and so it is part of the budget.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Number 21, we have a motion to approve the purchase of Biomag variable frequency drives for the wastewater treatment plant versus CoStarz, the amount of $80,000, and that had been approved in the 2022 budget.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Number 22, we have a motion to approve the purchase of a Ford F-150 and skid steer from CoStarz in the amount of $140,000. These will be a replacement item for a large crane truck that was part of the budget. Unfortunately, due to supply chain issues, that crane truck is not available for at least 2 years. And so the wastewater treatment plant, they had a Ford F-150 for future and a skid steer for future budgets, so we decided to move it into this budget and switch those out.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner Simularo.
Thank you.
Next up is the approval of our open and paid invoices. Do we have a motion to approve the January 2022 open invoices?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Do we have a motion to approve the January 2022 paid invoices?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Deanna, will you do the roll call?
President Hall,
Aye.
Vice President Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner McNaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simularo,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Do any board members have anything else to add this evening?
You know what I do? I think we're supposed to get a couple inches of snow again this week, maybe.
Oh.
And just want to remind everybody that the workers, the public works and everybody that goes out to plow the snow, what a tedious job it is. I know, it's part of their job, they have to do it, but going back and forth, pushing snow for hours and hours in the middle of the night, or during the day, whatever, it could be a long, long day. I know because I've done it once, and I'll never do it again. So I think we need to, when we see our public works out there, and we see any township staff out there in the snow trying to keep us all safe, maybe offer a hot chocolate or, I'll run something out as long as it's safe, because they can't always see everybody in those big trucks. So we want to do it safely. And maybe just a thank you here and there, because I checked in with Willard several times over the weekend. I guess it was Sunday night. When I went to bed, there was snow. When I woke up, it was rain. So, but they were still out there. They took time on their Sunday to go out and brine the roads and everything. I appreciate everything that they do. I thank them for that because, like I said, it's not a fun job to do. And maybe, you know, if residents could just wave and say thank you every now and then, I think that would be appreciated by all of our workers out there because they certainly deserve a thank you.
That's a great reminder. Absolutely. Anybody else have anything? Okay, then meeting adjourned.